Welcome back to Morning After, everyone. 10:15 here on this Wednesday morning. And for many of us, the idea of going back to school, maybe to get a new degree or learn a new skill set, to change careers, may on the surface feel daunting. It may feel out of reach. It may feel at this point like it's something that you simply can't accomplish. Not necessarily the case. We want to bring in John Barden, the Associate Dean for Executive Education at the University of Texas at Dallas, to talk about some of what you're offering for folks like me who perhaps thought school was so far behind us, and others who are in the middle of this pandemic making a shift. Are you getting inquiries, John, from people out there who, because of this pandemic, feel like it's time for a change or it's necessary for their economic survival?
Yes, definitely. Our enrollment in the executive education area has increased over the last year. And it's primarily people who are looking to make a change. And one of the things that we've actually been telling them is to come on in with an open mind. Have presence, all right? It's very, very important when you make a change that you research a company, all right? You learn the language. Let me give you an example. If we go from a retail environment to, say, public accounting, you have to know the language. And that's one of the things at the University of Texas at Dallas we can help you do. Learning the language of business is extremely important.
Would you say it's fair to say that sometimes people don't realize they're closer to being able to make a change than they realize? In other words, the skills they've developed over here are much more transferable than they appear on the surface, and they sit down with you and you begin to connect those dots for them?
Yes, and that's one of the things that we really feel that's important. We can actually help them research their skills, and we can actually help them learn the new language. We get the students involved, we get executives involved, primarily in networking. Networking is extremely important during these times, and it helps the individual with confidence, and it helps the individual think about, hey, it's okay to change industries. It's okay to go from, we'll say, as I previously mentioned, from the retail business, okay, to maybe public accounting. As long as you're learning the language, it is very, very important to do that.
How do you temper for people the fear of the unknown? And in great part, the unknown comes with, if I go to another industry, I have to start out at a lower position, and that lower position may mean less money than I'm making now. How do you temper the fear of that or the anxiety around that to let them know in the larger scheme of things, the net result will be positive?
That's a great question. You go with your gut. And also, you go with an open mind. You go with the fact that you're going to go in there, you're going to work hard, you're going to be honest, and you're going to believe in yourself. When you look at people who have been stagnated, specifically over a period of time, stagnation is not good at all. If you look at your position and you've been in a position for, we'll just say, the last 8 to 10 years, and there hasn't been any change, you need to retool. It's a good thing to go retool. And the retooling I'm talking about is if you don't have an MBA, think of getting an MBA. At the University of Texas at Dallas, all right, we have lots of options. Specifically in the Naveen Jindal School of Management, we have the Glenba program, which is 100% online. Very flexible, very affordable, and very engaging. And we have the state-of-the-art curriculum. So retooling and getting additional skills is very, very important.
I sometimes worry that, and I've heard this among some of my friends who are trying to make this transition later in life in their early 50s, that there's this perception that once you reach a certain age, 50 seems to be that age I hear an awful lot, it's too late to make a change because you're going to be seen as having aged out of new opportunities. I know you know that's not true entirely. What would you say to our audience?
I would say definitely go for it. Go for your passion. Go what you think is right for yourself. If you have that gut feeling, even if you're at 60, I tell people to go for it, because you don't want to get back to say woulda, coulda, shoulda. You want to go for it. And whether or not you go out and get a new certificate, a certificate in Microsoft, a certificate in project management, if you don't want to go back and get that MBA, there's a tremendous amount of options and opportunities out there for you. So I tell people to go for it. Without a doubt.
Yeah, and I also know you offer services once that certificate, that degree has been secured, to take that past experience and weave that into a new resume that really sells your students in a different way to a new employer. Tell me about the upcoming webinar event you have so that people can ask questions and get more involved and really delve deep into what you offer.
Right. On December 14th at 7 p.m., we're going to have a webinar dealing with leadership and dealing with getting involved and not worrying about your career. So it's extremely important that you do go to webinars, whether or not it's with us at the University of Texas at Dallas, okay, or it's a webinar given by anyone here locally, like Financial Executives International. But once again, our webinar on December 14th at 7 p.m. And also on December 16th is going to talk about leadership. It's going to talk about being engaged and not worrying about your career.
Well, I certainly hope our conversation today, for those who are watching who might feel a little lost or a little stagnant or a little concerned about their future, are finding a glimmer of hope in what you're offering. Thank you so much, John Barden, Associate Dean at University of Texas at Dallas. For executive education, I meant to say. That's your full title. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.
Yes, I hope so. And you can also go to cw33.com/morningafter/Glenn. But just get on the Morning After section of cw33.com. We'll direct you to those webinars as well. And he makes such a good point. There's nothing wrong with thinking about it. And if you just think about it, Jenny, and start exploring, even if it begins with a Google search, you're on the path to maybe planting that seed of change.
Yeah, what an encouraging interview. What an encouraging interview. I hope that you all felt a lot of hope through that. All right, come